the other day, Supermoto left me a comment and said, hey, I'd really like to see your garage/workshop. To me, my garage is just not very big. But then I was like, you know what? It's kind of cool that I'm able to do a full engine rebuild, do suspension rebuilds, do like frame off stuff to my dirt bike and my trials bike and all that stuff in my garage. The only problem is it's a little dirty. So I'm gonna go ahead and magically clean it all up. Bam, just like that. Magic. Garage is clean, ready for you to be shown around. So this is the area that I have done all the work on my bike. I've never taken it to a mechanic. I've never had another person do a piston change, top ends, bottom ends. Everything that has been to the bike has been done here in this garage by me. The single exception to that is when I had my forks built by Cerro Rocks, because I trust him. So he's the single other person to ever do my forks. He also did a shock service as well. But other than that, everything for the last 500 hours and then the trials bike has all been done here. Let me show you around. So obviously we have the little Beta here, my singular training bike that is working at the moment because I am rebuilding the engine on the 300, as you probably already know. So the 300 right now is just waiting on parts, nothing bad. Obviously you're gonna need your power washer. These tables are what I use for everything. They're just fold up tables. I bought them because I wanted to be able to use them here in the garage and also take them to races. I have two of them, and usually one is in use in the garage and the other one will be ready to go to a race. You can see everything is just waiting here for the rebuild. I have the cylinder chilling here. Got my spare cylinder. Yeah, I have spares for a lot of things. Clutch, I'm gonna be rebuilding that, obviously. Not obviously, I'm gonna be rebuilding the clutch. This clutch has been through everything. It's got a ton of hours on it and it still somehow holds together. I don't know how. Reeds, there's a small chip in one of them, so those will be redone. Here's our crank, not so bad. The main issue with the crank was this little guy right here and these bearings. So yeah, you can see on the pin here that this is where the power would have been delivered, and it's just pressing down on that for, 500-600 hours, and it's ready to go. Underneath, I have this bucket, which looks like a pile of randomness, and it is. It has old sprockets that are bent but potentially still usable, and a lot of the times when I go to a race I will bring these with me just in case I absolutely obliterate a sprocket. Then I'll have one of these as a spare. I don't have a new sprocket as a spare because I don't know, these are fine. They're just a little out of true, they're not exactly straight, and yeah, usually what happens is I get a new one, I take these out, I press them and get them all pretty straight, and then I put them in the used but potentially usable pile. I have like 6 radiators in here. These radiators are not the best. A lot of them are out of shape, but being bent isn't a big deal. This is actually one of the original ones. You can see it says WP. But yeah, radiators are basically a wearable object when it comes to hard enduro. You can see there's more. Got a skid plate. I don't know why I keep a lot of this stuff, but it does come in handy. Like, it seems silly to keep it, but then one day I'll be needing it and it's there. So I keep this bucket of old parts. Even have the 2004 KTM 950 Adventure bars in here. They're slightly bent, but mostly I just don't like the bend on them. They're like basically feel like a Harley when you ride because they're just super bent back. Yeah, the Renthal twin walls are much straighter and keep you in attack position better. So yeah, this whole section over here is just basically rebuild. Little super hack right here for your parts cleaner. If you just buy some isopropyl alcohol and put a sprayer on top, yeah, you got yourself parts cleaner for like way cheaper. These rolly carts, basically, if I'm working on 2 bikes at once, this is where this comes in handy. So I'll take this one and say, okay, this rolly cart goes to 300 and then black rolly cart goes to a trials bike. But right now I'm just working on one bike, so I don't really need a rolly cart. As for the tools, the toolbox, so we'll start on top and work our way down. Top, you got like stuff this is like your quick access area, basically. And I don't know, kind of just becomes general storage. But I got obviously my zip ties, my fork cleaner, fork tools, the mandatory mechanics random bolt pile, which every mechanic has, and they all make a joke that they never use it, but I use this constantly. I don't know why I have a bucket full of tire plugs, but I do. I keep caps. It looks like I'm hoarding, but actually they work really good for capping off parts of the engine when you clean it. This whole section right here is basically taps and dies and helicoils. I think helicoils? Why is he using helicoils? Well, they're actually super handy, and my head has been held on by helicoils for forever. All right, this one is basically cleaning. You can see it's got all the wire brushes and stuff you're gonna need to clean, stuff like that. It's a little hairy wire brush. Middle one is like sealers and stuff like that. This one is measuring and marking. So I've got, you know, like my calipers, markers, obviously, stuff to measure your welding. The useful little tool right here is to measure like threads and stuff like that. Obviously I have feeler gauges in here, everything. Little tool to measure depth, super useful. Angle measuring tool, like I said, feeler gauge, and some spare spark plugs, which should probably be up top, but they're in there for some reason. So down should be pliers, like anything that crimps. And then I also use it for files because I don't have anywhere else to put files. So anything that goes like that, I put in here. And files, which you'd be surprised how often you use files. This is like screwdrivers, and anything that spins to drive something in goes into this one. Pretty simple. Next one down, ratchets and wrenches and stuff like that. Actually, I don't keep my sockets in here. I keep them even lower just because I try to keep the weight down low. So if we go even lower, this one's like specialty tools. For example, come on, my micrometer, and then my bore measuring kit, which goes in line with the micrometer. This measures bores of, well, these go in, open up to the bore, then you measure that, and it'll tell you what size the bore is using the micrometer. This is just a socket set. Like I said, I try to keep that down low. Everyone knows what that is. Measure electricity. Digital torque adapter. These are oxygen sensor plugs, and this is a specialty Volvo OBD scanner. So yeah, I don't even own a Volvo, but someone that I'm related to does. Next down is, this should be up here. Might be a reason. Nope, no reason. Next down is my sockets. They're not really organized in a way that you think they would be because I don't actually have like a standardized socket set. If I wanted like a standard set, it's the impact socket right here. These guys are basically like wrenches, big boy, the like half-inch drive, and my big sockets that I use. So yeah, just the big sockets. Underneath here is, I have my impacts, my electric impact, my compression tester, which I think everyone who has any internal combustion engine should pick one of these up. They're not expensive, and they tell you a lot about the health of your engine. These are super important. Doesn't matter if it's 2-stroke, 4-stroke, single cylinder, twin cylinder, 12 cylinder. This compression tester is very, very important. Obviously, everybody, you need a drill for drilling stuff. This is a super cool kit. It's just O-rings, just an absolute crap ton of O-rings. Awesome kit, and I usually don't go with like the universal kit because I say they universally don't have what you need, but this one has. I have 2 sets of these nuts and bolts kits for my bike because the first one is almost done. So I bought another set a while ago. You can see, yeah, lots of nuts and bolts. The newest addition to down here is this kit right here, which is a bearing puller, basically. Bearing pulling kit with a slide hammer. I bought this for the engine rebuild to take all the bearings and stuff out. And this has been super, super, super useful. I can't believe I waited so long to buy one of these. On the side here, I just keep like my heat gun, and that's pretty much it for moto stuff. And this is for like anaerobic sealer, whatever. Moving over, I have my special KTM extension cable and special orange KTM extension cable itself. Obviously it's not a KTM extension. But down here is, I have my spare, this moose is ready to go in and go on in front. I just don't need it quite yet. And I keep the old mooses so that when they start to get a little soft, you take a cutoff and you shove it in there, and makes the mousse last a heck of a lot longer. So yeah, this is my mousse section. This is not a refrigerator. This is dry storage. The refrigerator doesn't work, and it costs more to repair it than it was worth, and we realized it's just basically like a dry shelf because it gets really humid here. So we put stuff in there that we don't want to get wet. Yeah, I know, it works. Keep going over just random tools. Like this is for truing rims. Really anything that would fit on it, really. Truing stand, pipe blowout. This is actually really perfect for putting seals on the Beta. Turn the fork seals on the Beta. Sorry, I should have clarified. Bucket of tire lube. I'm not joking. It's actually just a bucket of tire lube for replacing tires. Down here is everything that came off the KTM, just waiting to go back onto the KTM. Moving over top, we have my wife's boots, my boots, and my very first boot and first goggles actually. And this is like the clothing section. So it's got like my jerseys, pants, socks, well, what this is called, chest protector. Helmet usually just kind of goes inside. It goes anywhere. And for racing, I have my extra lenses in case I, for some reason, want tinted lenses, which I never will. And tear-offs, which I very rarely use tear-offs, but they're there in case I need them. Down here is like all the spare parts for the KTM. So front disc brake, another front disc brake, rear disc brake, 3 sets of front discs and a rear, steering head, what is called, bearings, another kickstand, more suspension seals, more suspension seals. These are seals for inside the engine. I've got water pump seals, crankcase seals, everything you might need. And then I have all of these, which are basically like clutch rebuild kits, brake rebuild kits, stuff like that. All these things that you don't need until you do need them. Extra levers, just because you never know when one might break. And of course, more spare parts in here, gaskets and stuff like that. And yeah, keep all that stuff. Quick access gear. This is stuff that I'm basically taking with me on every single ride. So if I'm going in the car, I just grab this thing, grab this, ready to rock. It doesn't have everything I need, but basically, obviously my backpack. And this is just waste oil. It could be engine oil, it could be fork oil, could be anything really. I've had this forever. This was actually for making knives. I use air tools for everything. So that's why I have an air oil separator, because if you use air tools, you don't want humidity from the air getting into your air tools, blah, blah, blah. Get a filter. Charging area, air tool area, broken piston area. Some of these are really gnarly. Like that one's messed up. Look at it. It's even got like detonation on top too. This is a super useful tool that not a lot of younger people have. This is more of like a grandpa tool, but you can find exactly which bearing is making that tick, tick, tick sound, or exactly what part of your engine, your car, or whatever it is, just by putting the stethoscope on and poking around. This tool is super cheap and super useful. If you don't have one, get one. Spare hour meters, because I keep breaking them. The canopy tent for, yeah, you know what a canopy tent is. Here we have the second table, but lately this has been the tire changing station. Trying different things, see what works. This is going to be more for a moose, because yeah, you need that force. This whole stand is a game changer though, plus my entire spoons. This is the original, not the original. I got this from a guy who got this from a guy toolbox, and now it's just become a moto stand and storage for extra stuff. Come in here. Got all my spare plastics and my training cones and flags. Yeah, these are super important. Spare plastics, need to get some graphics and potentially, get a new look. Got my air filters, which I think everyone knows I use funnel web because I like them. So I have 3 funnel webs. Basically, I have a clean one because I want to show people what they look like, but I'll clean one of them and have it ready to go in while the other one goes. And then up here is just oil, whether it be like fork oil, engine oil, 2-stroke oil, fork oil, chain lube, This is oil for the car, coolant, brake fluid, and spray paint, like all chemicals and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty much everything chemically up here. Honestly, that's about it. There's not a whole lot that is, yeah, it's not a huge garage, it's not a huge workspace. Most of the tools, like the tire changing stuff, I just recently got that. I used to do it all on a bucket, which isn't that big of a deal, but this tire changing stand really makes a big difference, and I'm super happy to have it. It's awesome. Just like the pipe blowout thing, you just kind of, yeah, use them as you go. So yeah, most of the stuff, the majority of the stuff that has kept my bike going over the years is in that toolbox. And yeah, you can get away with basically a socket set, some wrenches, and a good screwdriver kit. You could do a lot of stuff with that. I also recommend learning how to solder, but my soldering kit is in the house. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I've probably re-soldered in new wires on my bike probably 50 times just because of its age. And as you move over and over and over again, copper gets hard and it breaks. You got to shorten the wire, find short, cut it out, insert new wire. There you go. Oh yeah, one final note. If you haven't checked out Soup Moto on YouTube and Instagram, Soup, I don't know if you post on Facebook. If you haven't checked him out, go check Soup out. He posts awesome content about dirt bike riding, super chill. He's not gonna start yelling at you and doing jump cuts like what you see a lot on YouTube. Just a super chill, relaxed dude talking about moto. Kind of stuff that I like. If you like my stuff, you're definitely gonna like his stuff. Soup Moto is awesome. Thank you so much for the idea, Soup, and hopefully you enjoyed the garage tour. And yeah, it's pretty simple.